Hello and welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be doing some blind testing on shafts. A lot of people ask questions about, let's say some of the lowest spinning or lowest launching iron shafts that are on the market, and these are some of the top ones that almost always come up. So, instead of trying to have some type of bias towards one or the other, we're gonna make it blind, we're gonna hit a lot of shots, and we're gonna look at the numbers afterwards.
I think you said it nicely there. In the Q&A, we get it constantly. It's like, my iron flight is too high, I spin my irons too much. Should I reshaft all my irons with Project X 7.0s? And Ian will usually sit there and go, you might waste $500.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily going to change the flight the way you think it is. And it's also, if you're super fast swing speed, how are you supposed to pick between these four shafts? How do you know which one's going to hit the window that you want and also have the type of feel that you want? So a lot of people are a little bit skeptical that, four shafts that are meant to be super stiff can be different, can change your swing that much. So the blind thing is a good idea. Hopefully we're alleviating the skeptics by saying, I'm not going to know which is which, and we'll switch between them a few times. And then once the raw numbers are up there, we can start to analyze how the differences came up, and then we'll obviously reveal to everybody which is which.
Yeah, these aren't some fancy new shafts. These are a lot of the most popular ones on the market. We just decided to color them green for today.
So Mikey, run us through just briefly, what are the four that we're going to tinker with today?
So the four shafts we're looking at are PX70, Dynamic Gold X7, X100, and the new Project X LS.
So far, I know you guys have been closed for a bit, but in the last couple of years, what would you say for the fast swinger comes out of the bay most often with these four?
For a player like yourself, X7.
So X7 is kind of the gold standard?
Yeah, I mean, it's the one that, get a player like yourself that comes in, there's not much that we're trying head-wise. They want to stay within a blade or a CB of that kind of iron, and Dynamic Gold X7 amongst the fitters is dispersion killer. It tightens everything up as much as possible.
Nice.
Personally, do not hit it, but it's a great one for a lot of players like yourself.
And have we had much luck with the LS from Project X? Because it was super kind of hyped when it came out.
Definitely, being open a month now, we have LS and IO on the wall, and the guys are loving it. I know even some fitters have been testing and potentially put in their own irons as well. So
nice.
Really, really good, nice add-on to the demo matrix.
Love it. Okay, well, should we start hitting?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Swing.
Really nice. Now, Matt, what shafts do you play in your irons now?
I have X7s now.
Okay.
And I've had them for now almost 2 seasons. I'm going to be embarrassed if I'm not able to pick it out of the group.
There it is.
Lovely.
That was good.
Surface. It's good. Feels nice though.
Sounded really good. Swinging it nicely.
Thanks.
And your initial prediction was your first one was not an X7.
I don't think it was, no, but good luck for me trying to chime in on when I think I do have it. Nice.
I want to hit it like Matt. That was great.
Good strike, really
Oh
good.
yeah.
Free drinks.
Like, I don't think this is an X7, but I'm hitting it way straighter than I feel like I would hit my own X7.
Well, as of right now, it's shaft number 2.
Shaft number 2 is looking pretty good.
Great swing.
That was lovely.
I mean, it's really like a true lab setting testing something blind when we did it for that SST video.
Yeah.
You know, Acra was able to send us 4 shafts that had literally just pure black.
Yeah.
And we peered them up, and like that's a true blind test. No one knows what it is.
Like I'm enjoying this for that purpose because I think the iron shaft thing, it needs to be done blind a lot
Definitely.
of the time.
Yeah.
Strike. We're starting to see it more now with customers who are what I would call like borderline gear junkies.
Right.
They say to us right out of the gates, they're like, I'm open-minded. I don't care what you fit me to. And then some guys are like, can you try to put the shafts in, logo down? Like, I don't want it. I don't want to know until you show me the prescription. And I think that's huge. I think that's you're gonna get more out of your fit doing that, letting the fitter have full control.
Depending on a player's in-tuneness, it's a lot harder to do it with club heads.
Yeah.
But with shafts, is definitely something where, you know, you can look at all of the variables, look at the player's swing. You can pick what's on the wall for them to go through, and then hopefully they're not trying to manipulate anything based on, you know, their wanted results versus what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
I like this one too. Shaft 3 is very friendly.
Contestant number 3, come on down.
That one's good.
What's the peak height on that looking like?
High.
Higher.
Good swing.
Maybe one more.
Should be.
It's just leany. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to go right, so I keep. That's a better swing.
So looking at the numbers right off the bat, you know, before we do that, actually, like Matt, was there one that you really liked more than the other?
I felt like shaft 3 suited me quite well, and probably shaft 2.
Okay.
So if I had to pick out of the 4, those would be the ones I probably liked the most.
Some of the most interesting things are looking at peak height, which is really important, as well as the dispersion just overall in general, right? And then because these are all considered low spin shafts, if we look at the comparison, we've got a few hundred RPMs between. I mean, the last one especially jumped up quite a bit compared to the others. 2 in the middle there, very, very close. I mean, again, we're talking 80 RPMs.
But definitely all on the lower end for 6-iron spin, which makes sense, meant to knock the flight down. And the launch angles, with the exception of shaft 3 that did seem like it took off a little bit higher, they were mostly kind of in the mid-16s, which with a 6-iron for me is fairly standard. But this is a shaft that I play, so.
Definitely. I think the biggest one, looking at this data, is that peak height.
Right.
You know, that peak height with shaft 2 is, you know, I would consider pretty low for an iron shaft, and you know, I know what shaft number 2 is, so it should be doing that, which is good. It solidifies exactly what these shafts are meant to do. So,
and then for yourself too, the deviation from the distance from front to back. I think that was the other one that we saw. There was the biggest number there. We got like 4 yards. Number 1 yard. And I mean, when you're talking about iron shaft, like talking about irons in general, like carry distance is important. Being able to control that within, you know, as much as you possibly can is going to create tighter dispersion, closer to the hole, all that stuff.
Yeah, I can see shaft 3 across the board, the standard deviations were all very low.
Yeah.
And especially in carries. So I think that's probably what I was noticing. I struck other ones in terms of face, centerness of strike quite well also.
Yeah.
But none of the other ones I think were quite as consistent. So that's why I identified that one. There's definitely subtle feels in I guess, the handle section of all of them. Some of them felt on the firmer side. I think I've gotten used to that because I do play an X7. And the ones that were maybe a little bit softer in the handle section didn't quite suit my timing as well. Just the subtleties of that. But I think for somebody else, they may have the opposite preference. And so shall we?
Let's
do it.
What's what? I'm curious.
Shaft number 1, Project X70. Number 2, Dynamic Gold X7.
Okay.
Number 3, Dynamic Gold X100.
Okay, X100.
And number 4, PXLS. Now, I will say Project XLS is a 6.5, not a 7.0.
Yep.
That's just how we have it in the demo matrix, but those would be your 4 shafts. So interesting, you know, number 3 you love the feel of maybe the most, but I would say 2 and 3 are probably the most consistent for you, and
Yeah.
you know, 2 being your, you know, home away from home, your Dynamic Gold X7.
Yeah, so 2 was actually, you know, and I think I felt for sure that it was one of 2 or 3, but for some reason I think I biased myself because I started hitting the third one nicely. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it must be the shaft that I was
Yeah,
here for.
yeah.
But it makes sense. I mean, I'm not swinging quite as fast in the last couple months, so maybe the X100 just gave me a little bit more ease of use.
Definitely. But what you said there, you're like, when it felt easy, this must be the one you're used
Yeah.
to. We get that in fittings a lot. Guys are like, my buddy told me I need a sim driver, and he hits sim driver maybe a fraction better in the fit, but you're
Right.
like, okay, you're limiting yourself in this fitting because it could be TSI2, it could be Epic Max LS, but because 3 out of the 4 buddies use sim 2,
Yeah,
he needs
match
to
up.
have a sim 2. So that's a big thing in a fit. Just trust the fitter and just hit everything, you
Yeah.
know, open-minded.
So 1 and 4 being the Project X shafts, the 7.0 obviously making the difference probably between the LS. The LS maybe in 7.0 might have been closer in spin, I would say. But I mean,
Definitely.
flight-wise, I would say they were not too dissimilar. Quite a different feel, though. I think
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
that LS has quite a different feel. I think it, for as stiff as it's supposed to be, there's a lot of feel in that shaft, and I think people might like that.
Blind testing. It's always
Yeah, it was
fun. It's
fun.
always interesting because, you know, especially for yourself, one of these shafts is one that you do regularly play.
Yeah.
And then to see what you liked away from that, to me is one of the most interesting elements, because I know there are shafts that I play right now, but I know that, you know, it's like, what do you play? Well, I play this, but I could play this, 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 or this.
Yeah,
I could
there's
play
usually
1,
a
2, 3,
range
or
of
4.
shafts that could fit you, right?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think this goes to show that although things are like can be very similar, the player, depending on your tempo, your swing profile, they're all going to feel different to you. And as the individual, that's really the most important.
Definitely.
Definitely. And the little differences of why you're getting fit, all 4 of these would be fine for you.
Yeah.
But there's little differences here that go, you know, shaft 2 is going to be the best one, or even shaft 3. Like we can dial it in so much for the player that this gives them the full opportunity to test everything and be dialed in as much as they can.
Yeah, that was cool. Cool test.
Cool.
Please leave your comments below. We get questions about this all the time, and you know, we want to hear your feedback on things like this. And if you have requests for more videos, let us know. It's really important. And as always, thanks for watching.